Take a deep breath. Deep conversations are starting.
Welcome everyone to Deep Conversations with Breath Hub. I have a beautiful guest in front of me. Dear Erin, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so this is kind of like we're creating this culture of our guests, breath workers and meditation teachers. And we first start with introducing, I'm letting you introduce yourself because I think it's very important for you to introduce yourself instead of me introducing you. And then we'll
Yeah.
dive into some deep conversations. Let's see.
Okay, so hello everyone. My name's Erin. I'm a yoga, breathwork, and meditation teacher living in London. But I've been a professional dancer for the past 17 years. And I've had an amazing career. I've travelled the world, going on tours with artists, and I've done some really amazing things. But at the same time, a lot of high pressure things. So I struggled a lot with anxiety, depression, things like that. And so that's kind of led me on to yoga, meditation, breath work. And that's kind of why I moved into this field, because I felt like I could help people the way I've been helped. So I now also run my own online retreat, which consists of 28 days of meditation and journaling tasks. And it's just kind of a combination of all of the spiritual practices that have helped me in my life. And so, yeah, that's what I'm working on now, as well as teaching around London and online and working with brands and different things.
Beautiful. So can you give us more detail about what you're teaching and why you're so passionate about it?
So I teach in studios, just yoga, which we know is obviously a really powerful modality for healing.
Yeah.
But I also teach meditation online
Mm-hmm.
mainly.
Mm-hmm.
With my retreat, I have members who join there, and
Mm-hmm.
I've actually only recently started teaching breathwork. So I'm fairly new as a breathwork teacher, but obviously I've always taught pranayama in my yoga classes, and I know the powerful effects of
Yeah.
pranayama as well.
Are you mostly as a teacher, are you mostly teaching and using pranayama and yogic breathing methods, or are you also using methods like coherent breathing or conscious connected breathing? So where are you at exactly around your breathwork journey?
Yeah, so I would have initially worked with pranayama mainly because that's what I learned on my yoga trainings. But now, obviously, I have more knowledge with other breathwork techniques. I'm starting to use them more and more and starting to practice them more and more myself and realize how powerful they are, how much they change things for me. So obviously, I want to share that with people as much as possible. But yeah, I am relatively new on my breathwork journey in terms of those techniques.
Beautiful, beautiful. So if we go back to your journey, when you first started yoga and when you first had maybe the need to connect within or connect with yourself or start with all of these practices beside what you were doing before, when was that and why was it? Like, was there a specific need? Because I think all of our journeys are alike. Like I had a deep need for
Yeah.
breathing. I had a deep need to, I really felt I needed to connect more with myself because I was feeling disconnected from myself and disconnected from how I felt really, or what I wanted in life, or what I felt at
Mm.
one time in my 20s disconnected from who I was. So how was your journey? How did it
Mm.
begin? How did it all begin? What was the calling? Like my calling was a high level of depression. What was your calling?
It always starts with something like that, doesn't it? Anxiety, depression, these things are so common with so many people. But I think I don't know if I purposely started yoga because I had these problems, or if starting yoga made me realize I had these problems. Because I
That's
think when you're
great.
younger, you're unaware. You're unaware of what's going on. And, I'd have moments and I never understood what it was. But, I'd be walking down the street and then suddenly I'd get this horrible feeling like, oh, like I'd almost need to curl up in a ball, like an anxiety attack. And I never really understood. And I used to say to my mum, like, I'm having these weird feelings. And I think when I started yoga, and I started learning about, I don't know, the practices and the power of the practices and how they were kind of changing the way I felt, or making these anxiety bouts less, then I think I realized what state I was in before, if you know what I mean. So I would have started yoga just purely for exercise. Like, my friend introduced it to me, and then I started to realize I'd get like I'd just feel amazing after. Like, I'd lay in shavasana and I'd like all this emotion would come up. And obviously we know when we clear emotion, like, we don't want to hold emotion. We want to clear
Yeah,
it. So how much better you feel once you've done that, and things like that. I think, yeah,
yeah,
it just really helped me, along with a gratitude practice. I have to say, like, a gratitude practice is really the thing that started off my spiritual journey. I read Rhonda Byrne's books, and that really just started around the same time. And then I just kept like
yeah,
diving deeper into
yeah.
everything.
Yeah, how I see it and how I hear it is, I think that's also very common. That's, most people,
Mm,
maybe like yourself, maybe, there are others, maybe some people who are listening to us right now. Sometimes we don't feel how much space we need. Like sometimes we go on
yeah,
with our lives, we go on and on and on without stopping and without giving us the space to just be with ourselves,
yeah,
to just hang in there. Like we're constantly, it is, I think, the biggest problem of people living in the 21st century. We are growing up in environments. I grew up like that as well. We grow up in environments where performance and action are honored and
mm,
not doing enough are
yeah,
dishonored, like discipline and
yeah,
performance and action plans and let's do it, let's smash it, let's get it on, wow, that wow, wow,
yeah,
that is
absolutely.
that is embraced, that is honored. People love that,
Mm,
and yeah, not many people honors or embraces like going deep, just stopping, giving ourselves some
yeah,
space. And I think that's mainly why many people don't even maybe realize um, if
yeah.
they're disconnected or not. And when you were telling your story, I remembered my own story. I think I might have started like yours as well. I don't remember if I started with yoga and then it led me to seeing and understanding how horrible I felt, or the opposite, because
Yeah,
it's been so
yeah,
long. I mean, I was in my 20s. I'm almost 50 now, so it's been so long since I started yoga and
mm,
meditation. So I think you're right. I mean, with me, I think starting yoga and stopping and taking time to stop, meditate, just to
hmm,
connect with my breathing, not doing anything with my breathing, but connected. I think that led me to understanding how much space I needed or how much time I needed for myself, myself to just be. And
yeah.
when you
We
look at
don't give
when you
ourselves that time.
yeah, right. And when you look at your own journey, how much did it take you to really get in a space of balance and maybe gain an understanding about life? For anyone listening and who are new to breathwork, yoga, meditation.
Well, I think it's a hard one to answer because I feel like it's an ongoing journey, and then there'll be times where I feel like, oh, I'm feeling really great at the moment, really balanced, and then I guess something else happens and it kind of
Mm,
knocks us off. But I think with these practices, we're always going to have things that are going to come into our path that are going to knock us off. But I think with these practices, it helps us build resilience. And so we can bounce back more quickly and maybe doesn't knock us off quite as far as it would have done before. So, yeah, we're not always in a perfect balance, but I think we're able to sort of keep it at a level that is way more balanced than it would have been if you don't do the practices. Um,
yeah, kind
so
of
in
like
that way,
knowing,
they've definitely helped me.
kind of like knowing you can anchor back. Like you have that anchor and you can
Yeah,
get back, you can get centered, and even knowing
yeah,
that,
because center. Yeah,
yeah, the
yeah,
center. I think
definitely.
yeah, you're right. I think the best part of gaining a daily habit, like even if I usually tell my students and anybody who is using Breath Hub or other tools, it's not going to happen overnight. So having the I mean, having a daily habit, practicing daily, even if it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, I think that makes the whole difference. Because once you gain that habit, if you're habitually just, when you wake up, stopping and taking a few minutes to breathe and connect with yourself, and then during the day, maybe a few times, and maybe at night, then what happens is you understand that there is a way, like kind of like
Yeah.
that you can calm yourself down or you can get centered again. Then when things happen in life, you don't lose it. I think that's the main
Yeah.
thing. Like we don't totally lose it, at least.
Yeah. It's like a toolkit, isn't it? To keep coming back to, like, it's there when you need it. You can go and grab it. You're like, okay, today I feel off. Which practice am I going to choose? I think I need this one. And yeah, they're there now that we know
Yeah,
them
yeah.
to help
Do you
us.
think? Do you think? Because
Mm.
I meet some people, especially in the business world, because I'm also leading the company. Breath Up is a huge project. Being a startup project, and we constantly are fundraising and speaking with investors, and also in front of a lot of business people. We have corporate packages, and so there have been some people, interestingly enough, stating that maybe all of these are just trends. It's like, what's the next trend? Because it's kind of like breathwork has been, I mean, we've been using breathwork, humanity has been using breathwork for ages, for centuries,
Mm.
but now it's
Mm.
becoming more trendy because more people are doing it, or yoga, it became trendy. And some people are
Mm.
looking at it as, this is going to last until the next trend. It's not going to last for 100 years. What do you think about it? Do you think it's a
Mm.
trend, or do you think we'll hold on to that for the next 100 or couple
Um,
hundred years?
well, I hope so. No, I don't agree it's a trend. I believe that it's become possible because more people are discovering it, and we have more people teaching it, and it's just spreading far and wide. But I think the fact is they have been practicing these are ancient traditions. Like, they've been practicing them, like you said, for centuries, and there's a reason that for that. And if you don't do these practices, you won't understand. So maybe the people who are stating this are people who actually don't do these practices, because I think when you do the practices and you feel the effects, the benefits, there's just no way that you'd not
Yeah.
do them anymore. It's almost like once you start, you're just not going to stop. They're too powerful, and they're what everybody needs. If the whole world did these practices, it would be such a different place, a better place. So no, I don't think they're trends. I'd
Yeah,
like
let's
to
say.
not think so anyway.
Yeah. Okay. So some people also tell me, like, once they start the practice, like yoga and meditation and breath work, and once they understand the value of it and go on, it's kind of like go on a path.
Mm.
Most people's lives starts changing as well. Like some people state that they can't hang out with some of their friends. They can't do the same things they did many years ago. How has life changed
Mm.
for you? Like, are there any people whom you can't? Not you can't, but it's like um, life doesn't allow you
You
to
choose
be
not to.
together. It's like, or choose not to, or are there some things,
Yeah.
behavioral or life habits, that changed after you started
Um,
practice?
I think because these practices bring such an awareness, a self-awareness, that you start to realize the things that make you feel off. So it's not like I've necessarily cut people out of my life, but I think, like, just naturally you grow apart from the people who aren't necessarily aligned with you, whereas before you might spend time with them, and maybe their energy would drain you, or you'd feel drained afterwards, but you'd not realize it was that. But then as soon as you become aware, you start realizing that certain things or people or energy aren't quite there for you. So then I think it just naturally, you just stop putting your energy there, don't you? I've not cut
Yeah,
people out necessarily, but I think the universe has just naturally
yeah,
parted
yeah,
me from things and
yeah.
people. And for example, my dance career, I absolutely love loved what I did. I was so lucky, like, but it was the biggest source of anxiety for me. Like, it was such high pressure, and there was a lot of situations that really didn't make me feel good. But I
Mm,
did it because it was my job, and I almost feel like the pandemic has sort of put an end to my career because the work stopped. But when it stopped, I suddenly stopped feeling anxious like I was, and I was like, wow, like that's quite a big, thing that's happened, but it separated me from this thing that wasn't necessarily making me feel good. So I feel like it's like the universe that separates me rather than me choosing to, because it
yeah.
knows that those things aren't aligned with me anymore, you know?
It's very impressive how many people started looking back, how many people started thinking about how they benefited actually from COVID. It's like maybe after 10 years or 20 years, humanity will say COVID was the best thing that ever happened to us. Besides, of course, the people
I
who are
know.
dying. But the thing is, people are dying anyway,
Yeah.
not to undermine the
Mm,
situation, but um, I
mm,
mean, I hear a lot of people who benefited because it's kind of like the universe told us to just stop whatever you're doing. You're so off, you know, you're just so off your
yeah.
path,
Stop
you're just
and
so off.
reevaluate.
Stop, get back, tune in, center. I mean,
Mm,
if you look at it, like even breath up and deep conversations and all of the things we've been doing in the past 2 years have been born after COVID. So I think with me
yeah.
and with most of my friends, we gained a lot of clarity about what we want and
Mm,
what we need in life. Yeah, that's very nice to hear. So may we also say,
yeah.
because that's what I hear from you as well. The more we spend time with ourselves, the more in tune we are with ourselves, with our physical bodies,
Mm,
with our minds, how we feel, who we are, with meditation, yoga, breath work, the more we start
mm,
valuing ourselves. And then we can't just spend our, because when we value ourselves, we value our time, we value our energy,
mm-hmm,
we value our attention, and that's why we just can't spend time, energy, and attention with things that are not aligned to us, which things we don't value enough. And I think maybe
mm-hmm.
that's
Yeah.
what's happening with all of us, because that's very common with me as well, probably with many people who are listening to this podcast if they are doing breath work and meditation. And that's definitely going to happen if you keep on practicing breath work and meditation daily with Breath Up or other tools. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, 100%. Like, you start to find awareness of how good the practices make you feel. And so, I've definitely had moments where I've allowed the busyness of life just to take over, and I start to feel like myself, like drifting off. And I'm like, oh, my mind's so busy, I feel stressed. And then I'm like, I know that I need to give myself time, I need to prioritize myself, I need to do these things that allow me to be the best version of myself, so then I can show up for other people. But you're right, it makes you value yourself, put yourself first, so that you can be the best you can be. And some people say that's selfish, but it's not, because it benefits everyone who you come into contact with if you're a nicer person. And that's the same for everyone. If we did these things and we were nicer people, it would just be, the world would be a better place.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, so what I want to ask you is, right now in your life, what are you in love with? What do you love the most?
I have to say travel, which
Travel.
is diff- difficult in some ways because of, the pandemic and restrictions and things. But I also think it's kind of, not being able to travel like I used to has made me realize how much I love it, and has almost made me um, try to move my life into a way that allows me to travel more. Because so my aim is to be able to, get my work completely remote so I can just travel the world. So it's a work in progress at the moment. But yeah, it's what I love. It's what makes me happy. Going on an adventure and meeting new people, seeing the world. Like, the world's so huge and there's not a lot of time to see it all. So
Yeah,
yeah,
for
I love
sure.
traveling.
Yeah, beautiful.
Mm.
Thank you very much. I think this
Mhm.
was a beautiful conversation with beautiful messages in it, and I'm sure everybody listening to it loved it. We have one very last meaningful question for
Okay.
me to ask. What would you like to see happen in the world before you die?
I mean, it sounds cliche, doesn't it? But
Mm.
just more love. Like, it's something that I say to the members on my retreat constantly. And a lot of them come to me with problems or things they're not sure about. And I'm like, think about how you're going to answer this for yourself. Are you leading yourself with love or with fear? And when you lead with love, like, it can only go in a good direction. And I think everybody just needs to lead with love first, because we let fear get in the way, and that's when problems arise. So more love in the world, and just then the world will be a better place.
Yeah. So I need to
Can't go
ask
wrong
you
with
one more
love.
question, because I'm sure the people who are listening to us are asking that question as well. I mean, it will be two questions. The first one is, how would you describe love, and what are the tools you use to connect and be connected and stay connected with that love?
Um, so I guess I describe love as a vibration, so a high level vibration, and you can feel like everybody can sense energy. It's a high level of energy, and so, when I think about a situation I'm in and I can't make a decision, and I think, well, if I make this decision through love, how does that make me feel? Like, which direction makes me feel that high vibrational energy? And then I know that's the one that I need to go with. And that's one you always want to go with. We're
Mm,
healthier people, we're happier people when we vibrate on that higher level, and everybody around us can experience that
mm,
energy from us. You can tell when you walk in a room and someone's beaming, or if someone's like
yeah,
scared and negative. Like, you can feel
yeah,
it. You don't even need to speak. So yeah, for
yeah.
me, it's an energy and a vibration.
Beautiful. I sometimes call
Mm.
it inspiration as well. Just being inspired
Yeah.
from within. And
Hmm.
okay, and
Yeah.
what would you suggest to anyone to stay connected with that energy? I mean, I'm sure we already talked about it, but like, how do you stay connected with that energy? And yeah,
Mm. For me, the thing that keeps me on that high vibration is my gratitude practice. And
mm,
for me, if I'm honest, I wouldn't say I'm a naturally positive person. It doesn't come naturally to me. Some people just are. I'm not. I've always almost seen the worst in things, which isn't great. But so I have to actively practice gratitude. I have to write
mm,
it in my journal. I try and make sure I do 10 things a day, and then I really connect with my heart. And I reread the things, and I say thank you 3 times, and it just helps me feel that love and gratitude. And I can feel everything shift when I do it. And that's what I'm trying to
mm.
share with people on my retreat, and
Beautiful,
how
beautiful.
powerful it is. Mm.
Yeah. I do the gratitude practice when I'm in bed going to sleep every night. I close
Yeah,
my eyes before going to bed. I think about everything I feel grateful about, everything that happened, and in
yeah,
general, everything I'm grateful about before I go to sleep. And I suggest that to
that's so
everyone
good.
listening to it, because I think going to sleep, I mean, during the day, of course, it's important. Like, if people can do the gratitude exercise morning, noon, and at night, I love doing
Yeah,
it
all
myself
day.
as well, all day. I
Mhm.
especially love before I go to sleep, because it's kind of like, I mean, maybe it's me, but I kind of feel like something changes in my sleep and during my sleep if I do that while I'm going to sleep. I even
Yeah,
fall asleep thinking about the things I'm grateful
better.
about. It's like falling
Yeah,
asleep with
because
that. It's like it I think something happens during sleep. I wake up with ease and with a lot of energy, well rested. What do you think about
yeah,
that?
because yeah, I 100% agree. I actually read that in a book. Do you know Dr. Wayne Dyer?
Yeah, sure.
Um,
Yeah.
he's he's written a book called oh God, I've actually forgotten what it's called, but it's a great book. I'm going to find out what it's called. But it talks about the last 5 minutes before you go to sleep and how important they are, because that's when you're sort of drifting between wakefulness and sleep, is when you go into your subconscious mind. And if you're taking with you those positive thoughts, the gratitude, all of that stuff, that the subconscious is actually where our reality is created. So it totally makes sense that when you wake up you feel better and things start going better, like when you're carrying that through with you when you go to bed.
Beautiful. Great
And
to
so many
hear it
people think
because,
about,
yeah,
yeah,
great to hear it
because
because
people
I
just think
didn't
about
think of it.
negative
Yeah.
things at night.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't know about it.
I'll
I
find
know
out what it's
Wayne
called.
Dyer. I think I did read one of his books, and he's actually a friend, and I think a student of one of my teachers, Dr. DiMartini, and he wrote his book after he finished some of his courses, I believe. He's also a good friend.
Right.
I didn't know it, but like gratitude is a big thing. I was just doing it intentionally, thinking about everything I was grateful during the day. It's like, it's just great, to do that when you're falling to sleep. I think
Yeah.
it's a great way to fall asleep. That's why I was doing it.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's
No,
suggest
it
this to
is. I
everyone.
agree.
Yeah, so it's our
Yeah. I
exercise,
wish I could
Erin.
remember the name of the book.
Yeah,
Pardon?
he has a lot of books. So it's our exercise from now on, Erin.
Yeah. Well, that's what I do,
Gratitude.
try and do that every day anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
It's so
beautiful.
powerful.
Yeah, it is.
Hmm.
Thank you so much. And it's
Thank
great
you.
to
It was
see
lovely
you.
to
And
chat to you.
yeah, exactly.
You
It's
too.
it's beautiful. It's very inspiring, and it's lovely to know that you exist and you're beautiful and everything you said. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. You too.
Yeah, thank you. Full of gratitude.
Thank you.
Enjoy your
Me
day,
too.
Erin. Bye.
You too. Bye bye.